lights go low, questions arise on how rules flow. Sean's here to guide in the quiet night air, bringing truth and justice with a steady stare. After dark we roll, the questions ignite. Let's talk about the road in the calm moonlight.
Yeah, it's like that. We're back again. Hey, my name is Sean Shapiro. I am a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, police stuff, movies, TV, technology. I don't really care. I talk about stuff and things, and I have a lot of fun doing it. That's why I'm here. I'm here to chat about stuff and things. If you're new to the channel, that's what it is. And this late night thing is the second live stream I've done today because I can't get enough. That's right. Give me an opportunity to talk some more, and apparently I'm going to take it. So what's going on tonight? What are you doing? Hope you're doing well. And Jazz says, hey, hope you're well. I am. Thanks, Jazz. I appreciate it. We're just chilling out. There's nothing special going on. Oh, I do realize that I wanted to put on some music. I love that little background thing. So we're going to put on some Suno. Oh, I might have to make a new one. I feel like we should experiment with music. Let's log in and see if I have to do the credential thing. No, it still knows who I am. Thank goodness. All right. We're going to go into the library. Oh, it's already here. Look at that. It's even queued. There we go. Nice and low. If it's too loud, let me know. We'll make it lower. Ali, what's going on? Haley99 says it's going to be a blue tsunami, Pierre 2025. We're watching the news, man. It's getting interesting. Let me adjust my chair. There we go. Maybe I'm too high. Woo! Look at that. A little lower. I'm watching all the content. It is interesting. I've already voted. Votes are in. I cannot get over like how it's going. Like I thought it was going to be one way, and then I got a little nervous. Now my hopes are high. Jazz says, used to watch your live faithfully. Great content. Really appreciate everything you do. Well, thank you, Jazz. I appreciate you. I am happy to be able to continue doing this. It's something I really enjoy. And despite the fact that I have retired from policing, this is something that I'm really, really stoked about. It's something I'm very passionate about. I mean, it's better than stoked. So by all means, if you would like to keep up to date with this stuff that I do, jump on in because I do this 5 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m., Tuesdays, and, Thursdays at 9 p.m. And I think those times work. I'm really excited to see, or curious to see what happens come the summer because things could change. Things could change. Woodell Engineering, how you doing? Mike, how are you? Welcome. We got, what is this? Haley says, the Toronto police are disappointed you for not endorsing Pierre. Do what's right for the city. I'm not endorsing, nor do I talk about politics. I try and avoid speaking about politics. It's just, it's so polarizing. And whatever your opinions are, I'm happy for you. Like I'm not saying I agree or disagree with you. I'm glad that I voted. I'm glad that I did my part. I think everyone should. I hope for the best. Yeah. It's amazing. I said something nice about Elon Musk and someone blocked me. It's just not worth going into politics. It's not even about this country. Just said something nice about Elon Musk. They lost their mind. And it was somebody that I thought was, that I'd been chatting with here. But they could not handle it. Peter John William, what's going on? Yukon too. Hello, how you doing? The Real Walker Texas Ranger is back again. Mubashir is here. NBA, Absalim, I think I said that right. MCY, what's going on? Carlos, Concrete, something, but it got cut off. I can't see. And is showing blue hearts. Thank you. We've got here Jas, who says, I've been busy between college and work. Haven't had much of a chance around lately. Well, now you're here. You found me. Do tag and come on back because we're doing this all the time. Jas wants to know if I missed the job. I missed the job horribly. I miss my friends and my colleagues, and because there's friends, there were colleagues that I miss, and there are people that are truly friends. And of course, I stay in contact, but it's nothing. It's not the same as seeing them every day at work. You know, those relationships. It's like a TV show. You know, you're part of something. It's cool. I don't mean that we're running around saving the day every day. We were doing a lot of administrative stuff. At least I was. But that connection with the people, they're my family that I don't see very often now. Did you see that video I tagged you in earlier today? Which platform? Oh, on Instagram. I don't know if I saw it. What was it? What was it? Was it there was one video I was tagged in. You have to tell me if it was the one where someone pulled up to someone who was weaving, and then they had an interaction and then the car just rolled off into another. It was a mess. Well, which one was it? Let me know, because I try and get through all my messages. I may not have seen yours. Ali YJH7 says, Pierre will take my rights away. I'm disappointed in you, and I just What are you talking about? Someone unfollowed me because I did or didn't vote for the party they wanted. You're a nut job if you unfollowed me for that reason. I never told you who I voted for, because I'm not talking about it. But if you unfollowed me because I didn't vote the way you did, see you later. You don't even know how I voted, because it's none of your business. Oh my goodness. One less person who's cuckoo. And keep it to yourself. It's not your, anyway. Hi, Melody. How you doing? Selena, how are you? Julie, what's going on? I can't believe that. Someone who just said, I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointed in a lot of things. Okay. Oh yes, the cop that tackled the guy. So yeah, there was a video that I watched, and thank you for that. I planned on downloading it and sharing it with everybody here, but basically an officer was walking up to speak to someone, and someone I would say was unstable got up and started charging towards the officer, saying, "Hello, officer!" And before that guy got two more steps, officer just picked him up and dropped him, and it was a spectacular example of how you could deal with things one way. It was good. Dave Odette, what's going on, brother? Quentin, how are you? Manraj Verk says, pedestrian crossed in the middle of a road and got hit by got hit at your intersection. Why pedestrians don't care. Pedestrians seem to think that they're invincible right up until the time that the bumper makes contact with their legs and sends them for a short flight. It's pretty sad and horrific. Like, just because they make Are you a troll, Ali? Are you for real? That person who unfollowed me or says they're unfollowing me because they think I voted a certain way says you probably support the cop that unalived an innocent 16-year-old in Toronto today. First of all, I have no idea what happened. I'm not a police officer anymore. I do not know the details. But I understand that there was a shootout between somebody in that car and the police officers outside the car. That's all I got from the news. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there, so I can't judge. But they didn't just walk up and shoot somebody in a car. Are you for real? Ali, I'm gonna block you. Like you're like you want to block me, and then you want to tell me that police officers who may or may not, you weren't there. Were you there? If you were there, you can have an opinion. If not, you're going based on the news, and they don't always give you the whole picture because they can't, because they don't know everything. They speculate the crap out of it. But hey, listen, I just totally agree with you. Trolls are great. Oh God, now you're an elbows up idiot. Okay, goodbye. Sorry, you've gone through how much virtue signaling in the last 30 seconds? I got no time for you. And I hate to send someone away who obviously needs to learn a lot of stuff, but it's just ridiculous that you're just it's so disappointing that you got to take politics into a channel like mine. Goodbye. Now they don't have to worry about blocking me. I have blocked them. And that now they are accusing me of voting against my children's. What are you talking about? Anyway, they can't see me. I blocked them. Nazir, thank you. Sorry, I just had to get that one out of the way. Nazir says, what did Nazir say? I got a court date on May 7th for speeding 95 on an 80 road. It's 2 hours away from Toronto. Should I call? Should I call what? You might be able to do it remotely by webcam. You can get a court date, and then most courthouses across Ontario and everywhere else allow you to attend electronically. If you can do that, the 2 hours means nothing. If you can't do that for some reason, you can hire someone in that jurisdiction to attend on your behalf. You can call an agent. Like I'm not saying you're innocent, not innocent. I mean, it's 15 over, right? It's 15 over. Are you guilty? Did you do it? If you're innocent, fight it. If you're guilty, pay the ticket and move on with your life. It's not worth your time. It's not worth. You're going to spend more money on paying someone to try and reduce it. There's already no points. Melody says 15 over. I would just pay it unless there's obvious reason to contest. Nobody wants to have Charlie. Charlie, what are you talking about? What are we? Charlie, you're unfollowing too? Okay, goodbye, Charlie. People are unfollowing because apparently they think I voted some way, or because I like Elon Musk's cars. Let's see here. I want to block them. There we go. So, what a joke. This is not a political channel. I talk about traffic law, traffic stuff, police stuff. Not talking about politics. Not even giving an opinion. Just saying that I wasn't there and I can't make a judgment about the shooting thing. So, yeah, that's okay. Alex Parker says that's a silly reason to unfollow. Yeah, I'm bringing out the haters is right. But I'm blocking them so they can hate somebody else later. Listen, I used to have, like, the largest number of people in a live stream I've ever had was 40,000. Obviously, we're not getting those numbers these days because the algorithm's different and people are in school and work. But I'm happy to have people who are here because they want to talk about real stuff. And if you want to talk about stuff that has nothing to do with traffic law or good vibes, like, go away. Because I'm all about good vibes. I'm retired. I don't have to deal with crap anymore. What L Engineering says, they have to be trolls. They have no followers and follow like 5 people. It's probably the same person who just, because historically what would happen is I'd block somebody. They'd come back 5 seconds later with a new name and keep going. Oh, you see Mr. Sandwich Fan, who says, you still haven't condemned a police officer that shot a 16-year-old. Yeah, this must be the same person because I have no idea. How can I condemn someone when I don't know the what happened? Why would I condemn them? But I'll block that person too. That's good. I can get my block on. I haven't had to block anybody in a while. I do have to. It's funny. They managed to post twice before I. Peter John Williams, who said the truest thing so far, he says the clowns are unfollowing you because they just showed that they're not true fans, and they're here to be troublesome. That's okay. I got my what is it? I got my my block hand ready. I can slap some blocks on. Bizarro Sonia, what's going on? And Real Walker Texas Ranger says, I've got a new driving pet peeve. We've got a divided 2-lane road with grass. With a grass island, kids crossing the island to get to school, and cars randomly stopping to let them cross. So unsafe. Well, it's unsafe because the kids are doing the wrong thing. Then it's unsafe that the drivers are trying to do the safe thing for the people who are breaking the law. It's really not. It's just not good. It's a mix of not so goodness all around. But what can we do? We can't do anything. We do our best, and we hope that we don't end up in court. That's all you can do. I can see it from both sides. Like if I saw a kid crossing, a little kid, yeah. If it was a high schooler, they can wait. They can wait. They don't have a priority. They're not lawfully in the roadway. They're not on the roadway at all, actually. They're on the island, and they can damn well wait. Frank Slope, what's going on, brother? I was just talking to you with my wife. She wants to know when we are coming to Arizona. What's going on? Now I'm questioning, did I say slope or did I mispronounce? There's the reading and then the brain, because you've already told me the proper pronunciation. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, my friend. We got to come down to Arizona and create some content with you. At very least, just high five. You deserve that. It is a flight is warranted. That's what I'm saying. Worthy of a flight to Arizona. All right. What do we got here? Scrolling back. Okay. Scrolling back over to the TikTok. I got multiple windows here. Sometimes it takes a few. Sometimes it takes a couple. Alex Parker says, most of my tickets are fought by traffic cops and always come out ahead. So You get traffic cops, ex traffic cops to fight in court. You know what? I have such mixed emotions about this. And people have said to me, "Hey, I should go and fight tickets and make a business out of it." I can't do that. I'm the guy that gives tickets. I'm not the guy who defends them. If you have a legitimate reason to fight it because you're actually innocent, I'm all for it. There are times when people get the wrong end of something, and that's not cool. However, if you're guilty, I think you should just take your licks and move on. That's just my take on things. I mean, granted, you might want a better deal. Like I'm actually helping. I am helping somebody. See, I am helping somebody who I believe was unjustly overcharged. Like, it's one thing to be charged for careless driving or stunt driving, but if you didn't do something, like there were two options, and someone through hate or bigotry or a misunderstanding or a misapplication of law gives you the heaviest, most like heavy-handed charge possible, I don't think that's right. So in that situation, I'm helping somebody, a friend of a friend, just going to make sure they understand everything as it should be done. You know, and maybe there's something I'm not aware of that makes them absolutely justified in laying that charge. I don't think that's the case. So we'll find out. Let's see here. Period wants to know if I retired. I'm going to call you Period because that's the only thing you have in your username. Did you retire? I left policing after nearly 25 years. At 50 years old, I left early, but I did leave. And Jazz, thank you for jumping in. I did. Period says, enjoy your retirement. Thanks for spreading awareness effectively. And that's exactly my goal. What I'm doing now is I started a not-for-profit called Better Traffic. bettertraffic.ca for that. I'm doing other things too, but Better Traffic is my project that is ultimately what we're seeing right here. Better Traffic is attempting to be a privately funded traffic safety initiative where we do what I'm doing and don't take taxpayers' money to do it. I mean, those businesses and people who believe in what I do want to help me do it. That's awesome. But it's not about spending taxpayer money. As a police officer, that's what I did. I sat on the internet and I educated people, and it was worth every penny. I'm not suggesting it was a misappropriation of funds. I just know that police officers and police services need as much money as they can get to keep cops on the road. Oh no. Melody says, I got rear-ended in London due to high school kids stopping traffic suddenly. Yeah, because they're all out to lunch. Okay, let me rephrase before I get unfollowed by half the high school kids. No, not every high school kid is out to lunch, but the ones who run into traffic are obviously not doing too well. But I remember when like driving on patrol and you'd have a horde of 25 people just wander into the street, not paying attention. They got important things. They got to look at girls. I get it. It's understandable, sort of. I got a letter, and what is this? Nazir said, I got a letter, and they provide me with a phone number and 5-minute period to call in on my court date. Okay, so you can go in remotely. There you go. Find out what they can do. Maybe you what most agents do for you. I mean, there's agents who do magical things, but not some good ones. Just get your reduction. Well, you give me if we plead guilty. And they say, we'll drop it down to a lesser included offense. I go, sold. That's a reduction. I get my money. That's all. A lot of them are just doing that. Some of them are really skilled. It's different. Some of them have great relationships with the prosecutors and can work out good deals. Not everybody gets a deal. I shouldn't discount it and suggest that it is not. The Northern Cop, how's it going? He said, hey, Sean. Hey, back at you. Good to have you. Should have you join the live stream. I'm talking about having a telephone number. I'm going to generate a telephone number and let people call into the late night show. I think that's the way it's going to go. Greg Dean, what's going on, brother? It's funny, you missed the fun where people were unfollowing me because either I didn't let them know which way I voted or because they think I voted a certain way, and I wouldn't condemn police officers without knowing anything about the actual case. Anyway, letting Greg know what's going on. Jump out again. Greg, if you're still here, say hey. All right, let's see here. Thanks for I used to drive too fast. Now I learned. That's Alex Parker 0102. Alex, that's I drove quickly. Then I got a speeding ticket. Mind you, that was early on in my driving career. I was about 16 years old. I got a ticket for like 50 and over. I got a stop sign ticket too. And I got to tell you, those were very effective. I put up a video earlier today saying police are motivational motivators, because the goal of a ticket is to motivate you to be better, to not speeding and not having, that kind of driving. Because we want you to live a long and fruitful life, and that involves not breaking the law, not getting anyone hurt, including yourself. Okay. Nazir says, I just passed 3 cars. What is this? I just passed by 3 cars and my speed gone up along Ottawa, where the roads are that become. I'm not picking up what you're putting down, my friend. You passed 3 cars, so you sped to do that, and you did it where the road becomes trying to use. I will tell you this: if you go to court and you tell them that you broke the law, but you did it for a good reason, you still broke the law. It's not a defense. Just saying. Northern Cop is working, and Evandro Toronto joined. Evandro is my brother from another mother who is in the process of becoming a police officer. He is a cadet in training. I think he's still at OPC. He's with Peel Regional Police, or will be graduating. The quality seems to be cutting out. Interesting. I wonder if we're having some bandwidth issues tonight. It happens. But thank you for giving me that feedback. Let me know if you're having problems or if you're coming in clear as you can on TikTok and the other platforms. Brandon says, good evening, Sean and all. Sorry I'm late. It's been a crazy busy day. I saw pictures of what Brandon was cooking today. And Brandon, it's funny that you should put this on the screen. He says, for those who are wondering who Sean voted for, he voted for chicken wings, which is exactly what I had for dinner. I am observing a low carb diet, but my cheat, which is still low carb, it's just high fat, is chicken wings. And I had fantastic chicken wings at Wimpy's Diner tonight. That's where I went. I love Wimpy's Diner. They're all over Ontario. I happen to frequent a couple of them that friends of mine or people that have become friends over the years own. And it's great staff, great people at the locations where I frequent. I'll have to talk to them before I out my location is the best location, because then everyone's going to go there and I won't be able to get a seat. Anyway, just saying. But yeah, I had a great dinner and it was chicken wings. So yeah, I actually vote for chicken wings as often as I can without being terribly unhealthy. Well, I guess chicken wings in general are unhealthy, but what do we got here? Nazir says, I might get caught by speeding meter. Are we talking about automated enforcement? Okay. What's the difference between stunt driving and careless driving? Ooh, a lot of money is what the difference is. That's from QJazz58. I wonder if it was a wordplay or if I just made it sound something on myself. Anyway, say the name fast 5 times and see if you pick up what I was putting down. What's the difference between stunt driving and a careless driving charge? Careless driving is basically a $500 6 demerit point charge, and that's where it ends. Stunt driving is a charge that doesn't give you an opportunity to pay. Careless driving, you can just pay the ticket. Stunt driving will get you a roadside suspension. And sorry, I just read a comment from someone trying to be pretending to be a CTV person. And it's the same person with a new account that's been trolling. But anyway, the story is that stunt driving comes with an immediate roadside suspension of 30 days, an immediate impound of your vehicle for 14 days. Then, on top of that, you are looking at a $2,000 to $10,000 fine when it comes to court, or if you're convicted for the first time, you're getting a 1 to 3 year driving prohibition and up to 6 months in jail. So the consequences for stunt driving are way bigger than that of careless driving. You would kiss someone on both cheeks for a careless driving charge instead of a stunt driving charge. Just saying. But most people complain about any charge. So I got to tell you though that the consequences for subsequent charges of stunt driving go up. So you always get the roadside suspension and the whatchamacallit. The other option is the second time is going to be, instead of a 1 to 3 year prohibition, it's going to be a 3 to 10 year prohibition. Same fine. And then you get into the third time, and anything after it is a lifetime ban. Amazing. FODCon says, can I take a picture of my driver's license and keep that instead of the real thing? No, keep your original while you're driving. You cannot use a reasonable facsimile. There will be a day, I'm told, that it will be a an electronic version. They're moving to that. They said they were going to have it ready before the end of COVID. It never happened, obviously, and it is not here now. Thus, you have to have the actual card. The only thing you can bring a copy of is a photocopy or the original, but a photocopy is an option for an ownership document, the registration. It has to be both sides, it has to be a true copy. And then you can have an electronic copy, not a photo, but an electronic copy through an app that is approved of by your insurance provider. I was talking to somebody in the insurance industry who actually approached me during one of these lives and said, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you." So we talked today, and they're awesome. They have so much information. I think we're going to do some podcasting with them, which is cool. It is very cool. Although John can't hear you, Tracy. Tracy responded to the CTV situation where he wants people to such crap. Someone who wasn't there wants information. But anyway, the poser said there was CTV, which isn't accurate because they would have just emailed me. And let's see here. Tracy said, "You're like Jake from State Farm, always there." All right. John is gone. Leah, if you get charged with stunt driving, do you also get charged for speeding? You can. The charge can be both. Usually you do because you want to have the explicit charge of speeding to substantiate why you were stopped. So I charge you for speeding and stunt driving. And that is absolutely legitimate. Doesn't have to be done together, but it makes sense to do it together. And it often does happen together. Fodcon says, he responded to actually Q Jazz, who was saying that it's convenient to have it on the phone. Yeah, I get it too. One day, I don't like the idea of having electronic documentation. I'd rather have the physical stuff. But I'm a person who's been carrying a wallet since I could walk. Costanza wallet, you got to have it. Alex Parker says if you're doing donuts in your part, what's it from? Okay. If you're doing donuts in an intersection, you'll get the stunt driving, not the speeding. There you go. Yeah, because people don't realize that stunt driving doesn't always mean speed. It may be, as Alex said, as a result of burnouts and donuts and drifting and jackrabbit starts and so on. Melody's saying it's getting choppy. Let me know if my video improves or if it's still an issue. I may have to change the way we're doing the connection. Maybe you need to upgrade to some satellite stuff. Maybe not. Maybe it's Wi-Fi interference. Maybe somebody's running all the microwaves in the neighborhood at the same time. I'm not sure. The Northern Cop says chicken wings are amazing. What is your go-to flavor for chicken wings? Well, that's a conversation live stream in itself. Depends on where you go. One of my favorite chicken wing joints is All Stars. I don't know if you're familiar with All Stars, but All Stars Ribs and Wings. They've got a location by Vaughan Mills. Not my favorite location. It used to be, isn't anymore. The original is at 14th Avenue, 16th Avenue, Rutherford and Warden. I was thinking Woodbine, Warden. I think it's Woodbine. So why am I telling you this? Amazing place. And that's the original location. And it was a guy that I went to high school with that started it, and then he sold it. He got into business and sold it. So what a great chicken wing they make there. And my favorite is, I don't have a drum roll. I don't have a drum roll. It is God of Thunder. Yeah, it's basically Greek dressing and hot sauce. Really good. And they also have something called Nero's Epilogue, which is Caesar's dressing and hot sauce. Basically anything hot. I like hot. I can change it up. I don't have to use the same flavor all the time. Leah says, not a problem anymore. No longer is it choppy. Very cool. Hey, if you're watching, you don't know who I am. My name is Sean Shapiro. Today got political, so I had to kick some people out because they were trying to take over the channel. It was silliness. But anyway, a couple people got blocked. It was really dramatic, and now we're moving on with traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. If you're watching and you don't already follow me, please do. And if you don't follow me, why don't you follow me? You should be following me, unless whatever happened with that other person who came in with 3 different usernames to spam. They got butthurt. I don't know why. What else can I tell you? If you are interested, or if you know anybody who's interested in learning the driver's handbook to get their license, follow me on YouTube. YouTube has a playlist where I am reading the driver's handbook, page by page. Now, I did the first 2 weeks, and I've had a pause. We had some holidays going on with Easter and Passover and everything happening. It was a busy place in the Shapiro house, and I am now back at it recording again. So that's the thing. All right, yeah, get them to follow, and you too. I'm trying to get up to the 1,000 followers. I think I'm at like 690, something like that, 670, 690. We're getting there. Leah Latham says, what about speed of the day? 140 in 90. Ooh, I like the idea of announcing like high speed of the day. If any coppers watching need to send me their top speed of the day, like not your speed, the speed that you caught someone at, obviously. I like to make that a thing. Everyone can tag me on. I'm gonna start putting that on Twitter. That's when I'm gonna do my Twitter post, X post. Send me your top ticket speed. I'm curious because we've had a 305 in Ontario. OPP got someone for 305. Smelly Boy's mom, what's going on? Methusa? What's going on? And Jer the Bear, howdy. The Real Walker Texas Ranger says, fun fact, Colonel's dill pickle seasoning is amazing on wings. I believe you. And I'll tell you that I was recently at, where was I recently? I was at Wild Wing in Barrie. And I popped in there and I tried just dry wings. I got, no, what was it called? It was I put that stuff on everything. What is that called? Frank's. It was a Frank's dry rub. It was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. I tried a why can't I just, it was a mango dry rub. It was really good. There was just a general heat. I don't remember what it's called because it was not a memorable flavor. Who else? What else did we have? And then I tried a spicy lemon pepper that wasn't spicy at all. I was disappointed, but it was overall good flavor. I don't know if I want dill pickle, but I would try it. The Walker Texas Ranger wants to know if there's any law surrounding getting up to speed quickly but safely. No tire squealing, just quicker acceleration. If it was done safely and without, that separation from the pack at such a rate that it was a concern and people weren't jumping out of the way to avoid being struck, I would say that you'd be okay. There's no specific law, but it could be stunt driving if it was articulated in such a way that it was a risk to public safety and a concern based on the observations. Alex Parker says, Wimpy's at Shepherd and Bathurst is where I go. I go there too. I like that location, although I find that there's only one seat that I sit in. So if you're looking for me and if you want to just scout the place and see if I'm sitting there, it's the back, all the way to the back, farthest from the window, last seat. It's the only place in the restaurant where you can sit, where I can sit while wearing a duty belt. Because I never fit anywhere with a gun belt on. And for that reason, I found the one seat I could fit in. And it's the closest. And the bathroom's in the basement. I don't actually like trying to climb into the basements of these, older buildings with low ceilings because I'm 6'5". But it happens to be right by the kitchen. So it's not the most wonderful seating, except for the fact that you see who's coming at you and they can fit there comfortably. Just saying. But I do go there. Okay. Is it right to refuse? What is this? Oh, is it right to refuse to drive a person who refuses to wear a seatbelt? I think so. Now, are you talking about your friend, your parents, your cousins, your nephews, your people you know? I can't listen to the ding dong of the bell that goes off constantly as you drive away or drive around. I cannot deal with that sound. So based on my sanity, I would not allow them to be in my car because just that. I can't stand the sound. It's like someone driving around, they click a pen, I would smack them legally. I'd smack them legally. Anyway, I'd lose my mind is what I do. So in terms of, is it right to do that? Yeah, if they're under 16, you'd get the ticket. So absolutely, it's right to refuse to drive. It's your policy. It's your car. If you don't want to go, don't take them. If you're a driver of a rideshare service, you might have an issue with people giving you a bad review. If they're over 16, it's their ticket, not yours. But they could become a projectile inside the vehicle and injure you in the event of a collision. So it's up to you. You feel you're well within your rights to refuse the ride. It's up to you. I want to know more now. Who is it that will not put their seatbelt on? And fun fact, I have somebody that I call that might be related to me. And whenever I call them and they're in the car, I hear bing, bing, bing. And then I have a lot of choice words to say, saying, put your frickin' seatbelt on, you. Anyway, Chicken Shawarma says, do you have to pull over if an ambulance has sirens on in the opposite direction you're going? Depends. If you're on the 401, which is obviously a divided highway, two one-way streets going in opposite directions, no, you don't have to. If it's a divided highway, what did I just say? Did I call 401 an undivided highway or a divided highway? So an undivided highway is one that is both directions, same road, painted line in the middle. Everyone must pull over. A divided highway is where it's two separate one-way streets. 401 is a divided highway. I may have misspoken 5 seconds ago. Who knows? That's late, and I've been up since early, and I didn't go to bed until late, so it's been a mess. It's been a bit of a mess. So everyone has to pull over, and no one in a divided highway, it's different because obviously no one from that side of the road is coming over to your side of the road. Undivided highway, painted line only. Obviously, anything could happen. They could go anywhere. Everyone's got to stop. You know what's really good about this? Europe. They do a great job of getting out of everyone's way. Really well-trained drivers there. Jordan says, I got no front plate. No, I'm not reading that right. I got no front license plate ticket. Could it get dropped? Pigs can fly. Monkeys can learn to play jazz. Yeah, it could get dropped. Why would it get dropped? You need to have a front plate ticket. You need to have a front plate. You need to correct the problem. So S1K Dre says, is there any way to argue or dispute a VI? A VI what? VI? I don't know what the VI is. But I thought he was commenting on your license plate ticket. So if you got the no front plate ticket, there's no real excuse. What you could possibly do is fix it. Take photos of it. Go to court. Say, I fixed it. I was mistaken. I was guilty. I did what I did, but I fixed it. Whatever the excuse that goes with it. Maybe they'll reduce it, but it's not going to get dropped just because they like your hair. What do we got here? Floyd Lightman, what's going on? Ashley, hello. Sarah, hello. X, what's going on? And then we got problematic FG4 and Jay Chutkos. What's going on? Okay. A lot of dialogue here. If you're asking questions, try and put a Q in front of the question so I know it's a question as opposed to dialogue amongst yourselves. S1K Dre says, from your personal experience, do most sport bikes run or pull over? I will tell you that I've never had anybody run on me. Mostly because I'm right next to them or wasn't right next to them before I even hit the siren or lights. And sometimes I may have done some proactive planning prior to doing anything, like blocking their path, possibly. It's chestnut checkers, folks. Knowing that many riders, if we can call them that, people who run, before I even give them and I was a motor cop. I was on a motorcycle. Before I gave them an opportunity to do anything, I planned my stuff. Mind you, things have changed since COVID, and I think more people run than ever before. I don't know what they're doing, if they're running or if they're being responsible, but I do think we need to change the laws. We need to be able to take bikes, like just take them, or use like lasers from the sky. Something's got to be done. We're going to see a lot of problems this summer, I think. I'm predicting it. A lot of problems. What L Engineering says, I didn't block you. I was just on a phone call. Let's see here. Oh, Melody says, next time I'm in Toronto for training, I'll need dining recommendations. And boy, oh boy, can I give dining recommendations. I'm a bit of a foodie. I like food. And I like to eat the food. So it's a thing. I know where the good food is. Yeah, let me know. In fact, Brian Max and I, we're doing some filming. We're doing a series where we're going to be critiquing the driving in different communities across Ontario, starting with the GTA, of course. And we're also going to find the best places to eat whilst out and about looking for those drivers. It's going to be fun. It's going to be on YouTube. VoiceOver Cop on YouTube if you want to follow, to make sure you're following and get notified when that happens, because it's going to be posted there. What do we got? Nathan says, What did Nathan say? Okay. Hey, Sean, I'm not sure if you're able to answer this, but what happens if you go fishing when it's not season? I actually don't know, other than you probably get a ticket from what's it called? The net wildlife people, wardens, people. I know someone who's in that area. I should get them to come onto the podcast. This is the live stream, but I have a podcast, and we should have those questions. We should have those questions answered. A special edition of hunting and angling and stuff. But I have no idea. I've gone fishing before I had a license, but that's all I know. You had to do a thing. And one interesting fact that I was not aware of until recently is that if you have an accessible permit, a wheelchair pass, you don't need a fishing license. Did you know that? I didn't know that until I knew that. Now I know that, but now you do too. Okay. Melody says, dill parmesan or 40 Creek barbecue or mixed together is awesome. Really? What I don't mind dill. I don't love dill. Just saying. Let's see here. Brandon says, and I've been ignoring this since 18 minutes after 9. 18 minutes, yeah. My last road trip in the U.S., I was the only car out of 4 that didn't use a radar detector, and I was the only one who wasn't pulled over. It is amazing, truly, as to how astute police officers are at identifying vehicles that may have stuff going on under the hood that is, trying to avoid detection. Oh, Kingler says, wow, I'm special. I'm the only one here. You're the only one who's currently watching on Instagram, from what I can see. Instagram's a funny machine, platform. While I have 39 people on the TikTok, and I have people who are watching, 29 people on YouTube and X, and actually not all of those report because LinkedIn's also getting the live stream. But yeah, Instagram's always low. I don't get it. It's okay. People come in, they leave, they come back, they watch the replay. They move over to other platforms that actually put the comments on screen, because like Wayne, who says, your YouTube feed is fine. Your YouTube feed is fine, not fine as feed. I don't know. I'm reading things backwards. Apparently I'm tired today. But thank you for that, Wayne. Yeah, when you make comments on YouTube, YouTube, LinkedIn, and on X, they actually show up on screen. Okay. What are the rules on gas dirt bikes without a license? My friend is wondering. That's from the Toronto Spotter. Gas dirt bikes on private property without a license, without insurance, without even registering it is absolutely legal. Private property. Now, granted, if you're doing stuff that qualifies as stunt driving or impaired driving, obviously that's criminal. And stunt driving is not criminal, but it does carry over onto private property. Impaired driving or driving under the influence is criminal, and it applies everywhere too. Careless driving applies everywhere now, since recently. But you don't have to have a license. So I was speaking to somebody today about dirt bikes. They bought a Chinese dirt bike overseas, $3,000 for a 250cc bike. They put it together in the crate that they got it, or took it out of the crate and put it together, drive it around on their farm. It's legal. Yeah. The Predictor. It's a good username. Can I have a devil lettuce pen on a cup holder but not smoke? Interesting terminology. Are you saying, can you have a marijuana cigarette in the car but not smoke it? Is that what you're asking? Because I don't know. Devil's lettuce. I guess that's what it is. Pen. I've never. Are you talking about like a metal dispense pipe? You gotta spell it out for me, man. I don't know. I'm not a drug guy. But anyway, no, you can't have open or accessible drugs in the car. Cannot do it. Many Dots wants to know, are cops scared of the dark? Not that I'm aware of. I love night shift. And I've not met anybody who goes, oh my God, it's dark. I got to go home. I'm sure there are some, but I don't. I don't know. Grasshopper Glass wants to know if I was an officer in Canada or the United States. I was in the city of Toronto in the most wonderful Ontario, Canada. Yeah, I was a Canadian cop. I did live in Florida for 5 years, roughly, but I never worked as a police officer there, because you must be an American citizen in most states to be a police officer, which is not the case in Ontario or in Canada. You need to be a permanent resident or a citizen. But you can work for a police service and not be a police officer if you have a permit to work in the country, different than being a permanent resident. Jord Cam 93 says, blue hearts in a sea of them. So, hey, what's going on? Where do I get a where do I get a VOC hat? That's from producer JB. Producera JB. It's funny you should ask that because I've had a number of people who want the hat, and I made another one. So I actually laser cut the patch and then put it on here, and I'd have to get more hats, but I might put them on my Etsy shop. I do have an Etsy shop. I'd be making. I used to make challenge coins and decals. I still make the decals. I still do challenge coins now and again, but it's Coin Boss on Etsy, and I'll probably put them there, or maybe rebrand it to be the Voiceover Cop store. I never intended to sell them. I just made them for myself, but people want them. I'll have to make them for you. Boo Boo wants to know, what's my rights when I get pulled over? What's your rights to what? So first of all, if you're being pulled over, you are obligated as a driver in the province of Ontario to surrender your license, ownership, and insurance upon demand of a police officer. You're obligated, and you're obligated to comply with lawful demands. Those could be roadside screening device. We got to do a breath sample. You could be doing a roadside test for they don't have a machine, but they're going to have you walk the line and touch your toes, and standard field sobriety is what it's called. You have to comply. Refusal would get you criminally charged. So what else? What are your rights, though? You don't have to tell anybody what you're doing or going. You just have to answer the information of who you are. So if you don't have your license on you, you have to clearly identify yourself, and the officer must be satisfied that you are who you say you are. Otherwise, you're going to get arrested. So, what do you want to know besides that? Like that's pretty much the basics. You have to do that. And I will tell you, because I watched a couple of videos today with Freeman and Land going, I want to see a supervisor. I don't have to tell you what I'm doing. I'm just traveling. Garbage. You have to surrender your information. So Freeman and Land tend to get taken away in handcuffs, put in jail, taken to court. It's a mess, and it's a mess that they create by being idiots. Not to suggest that the people are idiots. They've been led a load of crap, and they really believe in the load of crap that they've been fed. Thanks, Nathan, for letting Grasshopper Glass know what the story was. Oh, VI, vehicle inspection. Let me scroll back to see what your question was now that you've given me the VI as the translation key to what your question was. Is there any way to argue or dispute a vehicle inspection? What's the context? Like you have for commercial motor vehicles where they've done an inspection, put you out of service because of something they've seen? I don't think there is other than getting it safetied, and that may be happening roadside, depending on what kind of vehicle you have. I remember doing, not stings, but we would go and sweep an area, pulling over any commercial motor vehicle for inspection. They were calling roadside mechanics to fix the major defects. They weren't driving back to the station. They weren't moving. It was heavy tows all around if they couldn't fix it. What is this? But yeah, let me know more about what you're looking at. Sohal, maybe possibly pronounced that way. What do I do? My license is suspended because they say I failed to appear to court for stunt driving, but they never served me a court notice. Now my license is suspended. If you were charged with stunt driving, Carl Freeman, what's going on? If you were charged with stunt driving, you were there. They handed you a court notice in your hand, roadside, right there. You had a court date within 2 weeks, right there. Otherwise, there's no other notice. That's right there. You had to show up for that thing. They handed you the ticket. It's on the ticket. Your initial Part 3 or 104, which is what they give you. That's the court notice. So, because there's no ticket, it's a no set fine situation. So, yeah, if you got a stunt driving charge, it was handed to you in your hand, unless you were in the hospital, then it was probably beside your bed. But anyway, yeah, let me know. I want to know more about that, Sohal, because maybe they didn't explain to you that there was a court date right on the face of the ticket, or 104 part 3. Yeah. Now, if you went to court for your first appearance, which is what that court date was, and then you didn't show up for the next one, they could have had a trial in your absence and convicted you, but it probably wouldn't have happened the first time. So this is probably something that went on for a lot longer than you may be aware of. When did you get charged? Let me know. I want to know all this stuff. I can't help you defend it, but I'd love to know more. Grasshopper Glass sent a something or other, some kind of, oh, thank you very much. Sent an animated something that I missed until just now because I'm so behind in the chat. Appreciate the gift. Okay. Grasshopper Glass has a question. If one driver waves another on and they get into a collision, who is responsible? This is good. And I paid for an $800 door at a place because a security guard went like this, and I drove into it. And guess what? I was responsible for the movement of the vehicle. That was on private property, and they had me contractually for a motorcycle show, but it was still $800 out of my pocket that came out. Yeah, you move your vehicle. You cannot, unless it's a police officer giving you direction, they would take responsibility if it was a police officer. They'd have to. It would be their fault if you could prove it. Police officer says this and bang happens. Yeah, they're responsible. However, if it's anybody else, you're responsible. In fact, that's what happened with my collision. I was driving. Somebody who had no idea what he was doing in a panel truck waved a guy through. That guy drove right into me. Driver was responsible. I was injured. He was responsible. Calvin says, you are so awesome. Well, thank you, Calvin. I appreciate you recognizing my awesomeness. I appreciate you. Hey, if you're watching and you don't know who I am, obviously Calvin does, but I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And I do it Monday through Friday, online live, as well as creating content that I think is awesome, even if nobody else does. No, I've had some great content that's gone out but I had a chuckle. I was disappointed that my motivational motivators didn't do well. That people didn't resonate with my thing. I'm going to make t-shirts. Like I totally have to make motivational motivator t-shirts for police because it's some funny stuff that made me laugh. Brendan and Yamlek and Cindy and Carl Turner and Robert, what's going on? Okay, S1K Dre says, well, Sean, in BC, if you get caught running, the police can seize your motorcycle and send it to auction. I would love that. We're way too soft here in Ontario, apparently. We don't just take your bike easily. In fact, what I think should be happening is any bike that is seen without a license plate clearly visible, whether it's parked in a parking lot or not, it should be immediately seized. Immediately seized. Yeah. I have no sympathy at all for people who do stupid stuff on our roads and put people's lives at risk. Grasshopper Glass says, you'd better come to Sarnia on your trip. I have friends in Sarnia that I have to come visit. In fact, I'm meeting my friends from Sarnia in London in a couple of weeks because we got to go visit Mr. Steak, who is not here today. What's going on? I think he was in live this morning, but not. I was on at 10 a.m. and I was on the air with Jerry Yeager on News Talk 1010 answering questions from his radio audience. That was awesome. And then, Melody says, we should all meet up under the bridge. Which bridge are we referring to? And QJS says, which sounds like huge ass. Is it supposed to sound like huge ass? Because that's what huge ass sounds like. And I can't tell if if your name is to make people laugh or it means something else. And I'm just an idiot who thinks it means something else. Anyway, Nathan was answering. Oh, so they were answering Nathan, who said, Ministry of Natural Resources, MNR conservation officers are the people who would be having a hard time if you were fishing out of season. I wouldn't even know when the season is, except if it's cold outside, I'm not going out. Looney Tunes 5 says, I spend 12 hours on the road and witness a lot of reckless driving. Is there any way I could report it? Well, absolutely you can, depending on the jurisdiction you're in. If you're in the city of Toronto, it's an online form. If you're on, depending on which police service is handling the area, if you're on the highway, it's going to be OPP. And I don't know what their process is for intake of complaints, but you can do it. If you have dash cameras and high quality dash cameras, you can always send videos, upload them to YouTube, which I think is great, make people famous, and but upload it and then send them links to it, and you say, this is what I saw today, and I would testify to it, because that's what you need. If charges are going to be laid, you have to have time, date, location, identity of the vehicle, and the driver, which makes things complicated. Very often what happens is they simply send a letter to the registered owner to say, hey, we saw you doing dumb stuff on the road, stop it. And then if they still do dumb stuff on the road, they will likely get caught. Yeah. ZVR wants to know if there are Miranda rights in Canada. There are rights to counsel. We don't call them Miranda rights. That's an American thing. But we have rights to counsel, and we read those out of the back of a memo book to make sure we get them right every time. Brandon says, Sean, it's been fun, but I'm calling it a night. I'm exhausted. All this chicken wings talk has got me thinking about lunch. which we have to do real soon. And Brandon then says, and to all the amazing people in the chat, have an awesome night and a fantastic tomorrow. I like that. And tomorrow we're going to be live at 10 a.m. because so I go to sleep, I wake up and do this again. Yeah. 10 a.m. and then I got to go and do other stuff and things. Every day is an adventure. All right, let's see what we got here. Do you think bike lane barriers are dangerous? Vinny wants to know. That's a very interesting question. I've never been asked that. I got to say, I've never been asked that. The deal is that those bike lane barriers, depending on what they're made out of, could be hazardous for someone falling face first into them. I can see them being an issue. I think that having the barrier is for the cyclist is good against a car entering that space. But I'm very conflicted about bike lanes, I have to say. A lot of the cyclists don't like it when I say I don't think there should be bike lanes in every area. I think I'm okay with giving them an entire road. I don't have a problem, but I don't like the idea of turning every road into a skinny one-lane useless thing that no one can get anywhere on. I hate driving in Toronto. Bike lanes have destroyed my experience of downtown. I don't go there anymore. I didn't retire for the purpose of avoiding Toronto traffic, but I really got to say that I love not driving in Toronto now. I have no reason to go into the city. I stay in the northern end of the city. It's much less traffic, and I don't think there's any bike lanes. Let's see. Melody says, I love dill. I had dill pickle soup at lunch today. I had some dill stuff recently. My wife tried a recipe with it. It was quite good. I don't dislike it. I just don't yearn for dill. Oh. Grasshopper says, a French fry dinner. Heck yeah, under the bridge. Albert's for sure, says Melody. I feel like I'm in somebody else's live stream. I have no idea what you're talking about. Finding Nemo's says, I spent 12 hours on the road and witnessed a lot of reckless driving. Well, now I know your Looney Tunes on that account, and you're the same person who said the same thing, but I thank you for... unfortunately, the joyful wonderment of Instagram, it's a meh platform, I got to say. So kudos to you for coming over to the grass is greener TikTok. But I will say that as much as I'm a big fan of TikTok and they do wonders for my reach, I like YouTube and because it integrates so nicely with everything. And then it keeps a record of everything. Like every episode, if you want to watch them, they're all on YouTube. 500 or 600 episodes, at least an hour long each, all on YouTube. Just go to VoiceOver Cop. OV Police says Leafs won game 2. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Good stuff. Go Leafs, go. I didn't even know they were playing, to be honest, but I'm happy that they won. By not knowing what they're doing, I'm never disappointed when they lose because I didn't even know they were playing. I've never been a sports guy. Sorry to report. It really offends people. I did cheer on the Blue Jays once though when they won the World Series once. Yeah. Well, they may have won it more than once, but I was only there for once. Let's see. Serena says, right turn, merge lane with a yield sign. Does a left turning vehicle have the right of way? Right turn, merge lane with a yield sign. So the right turning vehicle has the yield sign? Does a left turn? Well, the person with the yield sign obviously has to yield to the traffic that they're merging into when they come out of that pocket. They have a sign that says so. Now, left turning vehicle would be already on that road by the time that the merging vehicle would be meeting them. Unless, tell me what the intersection is. I'd love to pull up a street view. We could talk about this right now, live. Tell me the address or the location. I would look it up. We'll pull it on screen. We'll talk about it. We have the technology. I love that we have the technology. Oh, Marilyn Coombs says, is it Coombs? Combs? How do I pronounce your name? Coombs. We're going to go with Coombs. I keep telling my son to watch your YouTube on Driver's Handbook. Awesome. And eventually they will. And eventually I'll have more of it. So right now we're like 2 chapters or 2 and a bit chapters, and we'll keep it going. The Bear, what's going on? Okay. Scrolling back. What do we got here? Leafs won game 2, and Simon says, any cool sport cars you pulled over? I pulled over all sorts. I never really keep score, but I pulled over lots of Porsches. I've never pulled over a Ferrari. I don't think so. Never. Have I ever pulled over a Lambo? No, I've been present when Lambos have been pulled over. I was never targeting fancy cars in particular. I was targeting violators. So I had lots of violators, but I was so busy with the driver, I never really paid attention to the wheels. Wrote down a license plate description, but it never walked around going, I got me a Lambo today. Well, I never got a Lambo, so I don't know. I got myself a Jeep. No, it's amazing. It's irrelevant why people drive. Driving fast is just bad. It's so bad. Okay. Oh, Tracy says the game's not over yet. Hold on. So, OV Police, are you misreporting, or is Tracy talking about the fact that there's still more games to go? See, I just don't know the sports stuff. Josie wants to know if 5% tint is illegal. I was planning to do it tomorrow. Josie, don't do it. Save your money. 5% tint means 95% of light is blocked, which makes your vehicle unsafe for the road. It means that you would have your license plates pulled and a ticket for unsafe motor vehicle, which is going to be a big ticket. And you can't drive because you have no license plates. Now, it's obviously not for everybody. And Melody jumped in to reply to Josie saying, not in Ontario. And Melody, we got to get you on for a podcast or jump into the live stream, because Melody is a mechanic. And every mechanic in the province of Ontario, in order to certify a vehicle, has to have a tint checker. 30% is the maximum according to the inspection guide. And what does that mean? It means if you have more than 30% blockage of light, less than 70% VLT, your vehicle's unsafe for the road. Can't be certified. And police know that. But even if you have less than 30% light blockage, meaning you could have 25% blockage, legal for certification. But if at night or due to fog or crappy, not great outsideness, well, then you can still get a charge for obscuring the interior of your motor vehicle with a color or reflective coating. Yeah, that's the wording. And that's $110, much cheaper than being unsafe motor vehicle, but sucks anyway. Don't tint your windows heavily. Buddy of mine just got a new truck. He tinted it like 20%, and it was fine. Like legal, not bad. At least I think it was about 20%. Problem that you have to think about is compounding tints. If your vehicle has glass that is already tinting or colored in some way in the glass, then you add a coating, and the combination, even though the tint says it's 20%, but it had 5% already, you're at 25%. Know what I'm saying? Max wants to know if there are Miranda rights. There are in the United States. Miranda rights is an American thing. In Canada, we have rights to counsel. Toronto Stu, how you doing, brother? Good. Toronto Stu used to work for the Toronto Police, and now I believe he still works for Rogers Communications. But welcome to the stream. I saw your email about your birthday. We haven't missed it yet, have we? Toronto Stu, we'll have to do one of these, shout outs to you. But I hope I can make it to your birthday, because that would be cool. I don't know if it's possible, but I'll try. I got my invite. Justin Nakatsuka says, hey, Sean, I passed all my MC tests. Pretty stoked to start riding at 52. Right on, man. Riding a motorcycle, best fun in the world. I love motorcycles. Loved riding. Was a rider since I was 16. Stopped when I got hit by a car. And it's been tough to acknowledge that that's a part of my life that's on a break. My family's not prepared to see me on a motorcycle for a while. And I fought it. I was like, no, I'm a motorcycle guy. I got to ride. It's part of who I am. But you know who I am most and foremost is a dad. And I don't want to stress out my family. So I reluctantly am selling my motorcycle this year. It's been in my garage since 2018 when my crash occurred, and I'm going to sell it. And it's a little bit sad, but I'll be able to park my other stuff in there. So making room is a positive. Got to make the positive. Maybe I can buy a new Mac or a new phone or something with the money for my motorcycle. So if you know anybody who wants to buy a 1999 Honda Valkyrie Interstate with a Corbin saddle, custom saddle, it's a black motorcycle with as much a super tall windshield. It's a nice bike. 6-cylinder, 6 carbs, 6 individually piped exhaust. It's cool. I like it. Served me well. Rode all over North America. Let's see here. Melody says, okay, we're talking about tint. Oh, Toronto Stu says, if I'm not able to perform the test due to disability, can I get blood drawn to prove it? If you're talking, which test are we talking about? Driving tests don't usually involve blood, but if you're talking about roadside screening, I've heard of people being able to offer blood as an option. If we're talking about that. Tracy said to Melody, one thing I've learned here or on here is you can't assume anything. Absolutely. Grasshopper Glass says, so if I'm not driving, can the police still stop to ID, or must they have PC or RAS? Probable cause. RAS, are we talking about reasonable assumption? What is the RAS? I'm not decoding this. But what is RAS? I should probably know this, but I don't. I'm not picking it up. So if not driving the car, what are we talking about? Like if you're sitting in a car, if you're in command and control of a vehicle, you're effectively driving even if the engine's not on. It would be reasonable to investigate you to check for impairment. So if you're in a motor vehicle, it's a thing. Don't know what we're talking about there. Koila or Kolya. What is the darkest tint allowed on the driver's door and passenger front door? So we were just talking about that. Tint, 30% light blockage for certification purposes, but that would get you tickets if you were driving at night with them for obstruct or obscure interior of motor vehicle. You got to be able to see in, you got to be able to see out. And 30% is the darkest you can get certified at. However, I would aim for like 20 or less. You don't want dark. Like pick your nose and with a Kleenex instead of using the tint to obscure the finger going in. I always make fun of tint because what else do you need the tint windows for? I get it, solar load and stuff like that, but is it really that important? I know people who've never they've been tinting their cars since they were a kid. I'm like, I tinted 2 cars. The last car I had tinted was a Mustang. And I don't keep cars long enough to get emotionally attached to them. Well, that's not true. I'm not. Okay. The current vehicle I have, I've had way longer than I ever expected to. I usually trade them in every 2 years. But 2 things happened. One, it was involved in a collision. 6 months to the day after I was in my motorcycle collision, somebody hit me or I hit them in an almost similar collision to the motorcycle, but they turned in front of me and I couldn't stop. They didn't do a good thing. They were bad driving. In any case, the story is, thanks, Max. Max sent a whole bunch of gifts. I appreciate you. Roses and hot dogs. Hot dogs would be good, except no bun. I'm not eating carbs. But thank you very much. Very kind of you, Max. So what was the point of my story? I got distracted by the roses. We're talking about tint? Crap. I completely squirreled and lost my train of thought. Hang on, going back here. Darkest. I think I was talking about tint. A squirrel. Oh my gosh. So the deal is that you don't want it tinted too dark. What else did I want to say? Crap. Someone tell me what I was talking about. I completely got distracted. Riz Vision, what's happening? I'll come back to you. Whatever thought I was thinking of when someone reminds me what the heck I was saying. I wish I had a rewind or a producer going, you were saying something that, sounded good until you screwed it all up. But anyway, whatever. This is a chill night. I don't want to get stressed out. I don't get stressed out. What else? I was asked once when stopped where I was going. Felt intimidated if I didn't answer. Would I be? This is Suzanne. You know what? Most of the time, those conversations aren't to elicit a response for investigative purposes, other than to get you to breathe out so they can smell your breath. That's especially if it was before 2018. I think that's when mandatory alcohol screening came in. It was really to just figure out if you were drinking. Yeah, because the worst part about ride programs was getting people to talk so I could inhale their bleh. And usually you didn't need to inhale very much because the entire cabin of the car stunk. But getting people talking is just to try and see if they're hiding anything. It's to look for indicators. You could say you're going to the circus, even if the circus isn't in town, and just that dialogue would be enough to see if you're lying, if you're honest, if we're evaluating on everything. But it's not to try and coerce you or get you to spill the beans. It's part of an investigation, but you don't have to tell anybody. I don't answer questions is an answer that would still allow us to get the information that we get. There are things you have to tell, like, are you licensed? Give me your license. Give me your, and confirm where do you live? What's your address? Because even if you handed me a card, people fake cards all the time. They're not capable of providing the answers that are needed. So I don't think you would have been worse off. It would have changed the way that it went. Max asked again. I think we talked about it earlier. Maybe you heard it, but the Miranda rights are the states. We have rights to counsel. Melody says, argue a safety inspection. I have the 96-page book you can read. Yeah, that's for sure. But you can download it. So the guide, it's available online. What's to argue? Like the thing is, I think when police officers do inspections, people go, that's not a mechanic. How can they possibly do it? Well, they're qualified to do it. Police officers, anyone who's in charge of enforcing the act, has the authority to do inspections, but police officers aren't looking for your 10 mil over there is over tightened. No, we're looking for gross defects, obvious stuff that even cops can figure out. And then we do have some cops who happen to be mechanics, oddly enough. They had professions before they became police officers, came into policing with great skills and abilities, or they're just wrenches on their own. And it's harder to pull one over on them. But I've been around for those inspections. I don't want to. They even have like police jumpsuits. Ryan Honda 25 says, would you pull someone over for adjusting your radio volume or anything like that? My radio volume? I don't know how they're going to touch my car while I'm driving, but I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. The deal is that if they were adjusting their volume but weaving all over the road, then yeah, I'd pull them over. That would be a careless driving potential. At very least, are they drunk? Like, why are you all over the road? But touching your stereo to do that isn't specifically against the law, unless it impacted your driving. Calvin says, been watching for a while, just finished Police Foundations. Good for you. Congratulations. Welcome to the next step of applying and doing everything again. Because Police Foundations, although it's great to get you into the whole game of prepping for the next level, it is just the beginning. So good for you for getting that put away. Volunteer, and stay in shape, stay out of trouble. That's the best advice I can give you right now. But if you do have questions, Calvin, feel free to reach out. Billy John wants to know, if I buy a car and I put my old plates to take it home, is that fine? Interesting that you bring that up because we were having a discussion about this recently. The deal is that there is a section of the code of the Highway Traffic Act that specifically addresses the fact that if you have plates that have an unattached status, meaning you sold the car that they were originally attached to, the car is no longer attached because it was transferred to somebody else, then you have 6 days to transfer them, and you could use those plates as long as the vehicle was insured properly with the insurance company. Then you could take it home. It's for the purposes of getting it to the licensing office, not to hang out with it or drive it for 6 days. It would be a very short-term thing. But there is a provision. But I've had people argue saying that's not the intention of the law and it shouldn't be done. So there's an interpretation thing. And I think I've read it in plain English. Like, I was looped into a chat group to discuss it amongst police officers, and I see it and have always believed it to be one way, and they see it differently. So it could be a situation where you get a cop who says, I don't believe that's accurate, I'm going to charge you. And then you'd have to go to court and let the independent trier of fact determine. But you could get charged because some people read it different. And law is interpretation. That's why lawyers make so much damn money, because they get paid to interpret it differently and argue their points and justify it in court. Let's see here. Melody says, Blue Water Bridges, where all the fried trucks are, we can have at the Americans. What? I'm trying to think of where I went to a restaurant somewhere that traveling guy with the fancy car and the weird goatee ate. I ate there once. I can't remember what it was, but I wonder if it's anything to do with that. Calvin says, your attitude makes the environment very easy and laid back when getting informed. Humanizing police. I was humanizing police, and now I'm humanizing retired police. But I appreciate you. Thanks very much, Calvin. I'm glad that you're digging the vibe. Listen, I got nothing to prove here. That is, I'm not trying to do anything other than help people. So it makes it real easy when I'm not worried about looking good or looking bad because, hey, I'm just me doing my thing. But earlier on, you may have missed, or maybe you were lucky enough to see the trolls who were just losing their minds trying to make this a political stream, and it's not. But thank you very much. I appreciate your feedback, Calvin. Billy John says, we talked about that. Big Country says, Billy John, no, because the plate has to be registered to the vehicle it's on, and you need insurance. You do need insurance. I already covered the whole discussion about the 6 days, and Melody says you can get a 30-day template. So interesting. We're going to scroll. Melody, what's your take on that interpretation? Because I can find the section of the code. We can discuss it. These legal eagles that we are here. It's always been that thing we've done, whether it's accurate or not. We've always believed it. So I would never charge someone within 6 days if they had it. But how long does it take to get to the ministry? The big thing is insurance. That's the big ticket. Worst case scenario, if you get charged for driving with plates that are not intended for that vehicle because they're unattached, why would an officer, like, I don't know. I don't, there could be abuse there too. It's such an interesting conversation, but one of those mechanics who happens to be a commercial motor vehicle inspector, he was against the idea of the 6 days. And another officer was like, but that's the way I grew up. And that's what I grew up with. And then I found it paperwork that suggested it was legitimate. Need to find an independent trier of fact. Oh, Tracy says the game's still going. You can get a temporary as long as you get an insurance in the vehicle. That's Big Country 101. Okay, cool. QJS says no because the plate must be registered. A lot of people saying you got to register it, but now I really want to look it up to show you why. Oh, actually, I can go into the chat. Hang on. Here's the answer. Here's where I can go because I have that chat. I don't delete chats. I keep chats for life. Oh, wrong one here. Let me go back here and see. Here we go. Here's the chat. Temporary use of plates. Section. Oh, I don't know what section it's under. But it says here, subsection 3, because I think it was part of a larger conversation. Where's the actual section? Anyway, it says, despite section 12, a person to whom number plates have been issued under subsection 7, sub 7, for a vehicle that the person no longer owns or leases may affix the number plates to a similar class of vehicle that the person owns or leases where it is done in accordance with the prescribed requirements. Now, I don't know if that is saying, no, to me, that says that you can have it and use it because you have a 6 day, because it says, and then there's an item. It says here in sub 4, despite section 7 and clauses 12, sub 1, sub D, and sub E, a person may drive a motor vehicle or draw a trailer on a highway within 6 days after becoming the owner of the motor vehicle or trailer where the person complies with the prescribed requirements. I think that clearly says you can use, well, it doesn't say clearly. It's not clear. It's as clear as mud. But I interpret those statements to support the concepts of 6 days of use after owning it, buying it, with plates that are not attached to another vehicle. Because if you own a Honda Civic and you take them off the Honda Civic and put it onto your Ford Focus, does anybody want to buy a Ford Focus? That's clearly not legal. But if you got rid of the car and it has an unattached status, my understanding and based on what I just read to you, I believe that you can do it. Works for me. Ms. Lynn says, I have a question about speed cameras, please. Lynn, ask it. And that's exactly what Tracy said. Absolutely ask it. Okay. Melody says, Albert's has been doing fries under the Blue Water Bridge since 1957. I'm not eating carbs, but I want fries now. Thanks, Melody. A lot of help you are. Serena says, turn right onto Simcoe and head north. Are we talking food? Is this really what we're doing here? This is turned into the food channel? It's not cool, people. No carbs. I mean, actually, I got to say that the toughest thing for me was buying the fresh baked chocolate chip cookies at Costco to bring home to the family. My entire truck smelled amazing, just amazing. I can smell it now because that's as close as I get to eating them. I just drove with a car that smelled like amazing cookies. If you're ever selling a house, renting a house, bake cookies. It is by far the most intoxicating smell there is when it comes to food and feeling like home. The official FX Jackson 58 says, they started following me. Thanks for the follow. What's your podcast? I need something to listen to when I'm at work. Well, this thing that we're doing right here, the Ask a Traffic Cop replay. Well, this is Ask a Traffic Cop Live. The replay is available on Spotify, on Apple, on iHeartRadio podcast. This, which is now going to be about 1 hour and 30 minutes, is available. But I also have a podcast called Traffic Jam, where we actually do interviews and chat with people about stuff and things. Now, I'm one post this year for Traffic Jam. It's a reboot. It's something that was something I did before, and then I didn't do it for a while when I retired, and I rebooted it. But absolutely, you can listen to the hundreds and hundreds of episodes I've done here afterwards. You can also get it on YouTube. All of the videos are archived on YouTube. Riz Vision says, you were talking about tint windows, and you had two cars with tint windows, a Mustang car and a car that crashed into you 6 months before you had them. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I totally screwed that up. But yes, thank you very much, Riz Vision, for reminding me that I was talking about the fact that I had tinted windows and that I don't keep them long enough to care about them enough to put tinted windows in them. I think that's where we were at. And then I got squirreled and moved on. And now we're gonna leave it alone because it took me so long to see that. The official FX Jason 58 says, what's your opinion about wearing helmets, for example, ATV, UTV, motorcycles, etc.? I think you should wear them. I think my motorcycle collision back in 2018 would have been very different. I wouldn't be speaking to you right now due to head injury if I had not been wearing a helmet. So I'm a big fan of protecting your computer. Riz Vision wants to know what you see when you take your insurance back to your car. So I would see, well, so a basic check of your license plate would come back with registered owner information and the specifics about the car. And then when you talk about running your license plate or your driver's license, which comes back if you're the owner, I can do it without your license physically there. I would get the stats to know if you were wanted, if you were, you know, what your point status is, if you're valid. But ultimately, if I want to know your insurance information, which is really what you're asking, I can check to see if you have verified status or unverified status with the Ministry of Transportation, but that can be 15 days old. Ultimately, I'm calling your insurance company to verify the status of your insurance on every single call, which means I'm doing some homework after I let you go. And I have 3 years to lay a charge of drive no insurance in the event that I find out you don't have insurance. Is there a time of year where there are more drunk drivers than any other time of the year? Well, always the holiday seems to be the thing. And the official says, I find it's close to the holidays. Yeah, anytime there's a holiday, anytime people are gathering, tends to be a thing. Okay. Gilly Jen says, it feels like it's, blah, blah, blah. Let me try that again. It feels like illegal tint is becoming more common. Yeah, 100%. People are tinting the crap out of their cars. I understand it when it's a Leaf or a smart car because nobody wants to be seen in those cars. but at the same time, it's totally unsafe and people don't understand it. But if you want to know why it's unsafe, I have an article posted on LinkedIn and on X in the article section. Actually, you can go to Better Traffic, which is our not-for-profit. I have it posted there as well. Explains all the reasons why tint is bad. What is this? Hang on a second. Let's go back. Somebody was chirping at Melody. I mean, how dare you? What's going on here? Billy John says, nobody cares, Melody. What are we talking about? Cares about what? Oh, I appreciate Melody said exactly that. Okay. Billy John, apparently we don't know what you're talking about. How illegal are exhaust mods? Exhaust mods are potentially illegal if they make the exhaust illegal. There are things you can do to your car, and really Melody's the best person to ask about this, being that they are a mechanic. But the deal is that exhaust mods are potentially illegal. Like if it's too loud, if it doesn't muffle, if the muffler doesn't muffle, or if it doesn't stop the smoke, if it falls outside of their legal requirements, it's a big ticket. You'd be unnecessary noise. You'd be improper muffler or no muffler. Yeah, a whole bunch of tickets you can get. Oh, A says, I don't see what the issue is with tints. Then you need to go and check the article because I explain in detail all of the issues with tints, like the fact that people can't make nonverbal communication because they can't make eye contact because they can't see inside the vehicle. That it's dangerous for pedestrians, cyclists, other motorists, and police officers. There's a ton of reasons why tint is bad. Imran wants to know, what's your opinion on the Autobahn, and do you think Ontario should tighten their process like Germany? Do you think you're talking about tightening the process for licensing like in Germany? I think we should have much more difficult licensing, more rigorous testing. We have crappy drivers. We have a lot of crappy drivers who shouldn't be licensed at all. And then the Autobahn, I've driven the Autobahn. It was scary as all get out. I was in a 3-door, a hatchback Renault. And I was being passed like I wasn't moving. Like, wow. But is it safe? Apparently their statistics around collisions are lower. Like their fatalities are lower. I don't know how much I buy that. 80 to 130 is the speed limit in the Autobahn in populated areas. And it goes into Germany where there's no speed limit. But when those collisions occur, they're they're picking up like the debris the debris field is enormous because these cars are disintegrate. And I guess there's fewer of those that happen, but they happen. We could not support that in Ontario. We have crappy roads and crappy drivers. Even the good ones are crappy in comparison to the good ones there. Melody says, that's a nice bike. Oh, my bike. Thank you very much. Yes. Want to buy it? Tide game, go, Sens, go. You're what? Joe Valadio? Love your show and info. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Melody says, why do you still have your truck? Maybe that's why I was talking about when I got, okay, thank you, Melody. I was talking about the fact that I kept my truck longer than I normally do because it was in a collision because I ran into a guy who cut me off. So I kept it because the trade-in value was reduced because it had been in a collision. So I kept the car longer than I ever planned to. Thank you, Melody. I knew I could count on you. Thank you very much. Not like Riz Vision, who totally just didn't tell me what I was talking about. Well, actually, he got me up until the point that we talked about the collision, but not the fact that I kept the car longer. Thank you. The two of you make a good team. Why is the ER more full on a full moon than any other time of the month? That's a good question. Apparently, we are animals that are controlled by the position of the sun, the moon, and the stars. And you know what? Full moons were always bad night shifts. Always, whether it's superstition and self-fulfilling prophecy or not, I don't know. And thank you to my wife who said right after Melanie said, you're not emotionally attached to your cars. Yeah, I'm not anymore. I do love the fact that my family fits in the car. I like that they're comfortable, but I'm not like, I love my truck and I got to put a big whip antenna on it and I got to drive and jack it up and tint the windows and put a pinstripe on it. I'm like, nah, I don't care. It's a truck. And as long as it gets me where I need to go, it doesn't cost me too much money to keep it on the road, I'm good. Soyant 93 or Sojant 93 says, does an officer have to have a photo proof of handheld device ticket to lay the charge? No. Photo evidence? No. There's no photographic evidence required for anything. No. I saw you do it. My testimony is my evidence. That's the evidence I provide to the court. I saw him holding. I saw the driver with the phone in their hand. They may, the other side will say, well, in chief, I would say I saw a device that was rectangular, had a screen that was lit, that I identified as a iPhone, Samsung, unknown model of phone, but I knew it was a smartphone based on the way that however I articulate it is how I articulate it, but I don't need a photo of it. I might actually have a photo of it, but I don't have to have a photo of it. And the reason I'd say I might have a photo, because if I've never had a body cam on, but if I had a body cam, that would be recording, I imagine, from the time that you made the vehicle stop before you approached. And actually, there was a project where we put a side mounted camera to drive up beside people and catch them using their phones, but it wasn't a requirement. And Tracy jumped in and said, bro, because Sojant asked the same bloody question 4 times and then a 5th after Tracy said, bro, because we don't like spam. I haven't had to really chirp people about spam, but now I do. Sojant, please don't spam. Spam is for sandwiches, apparently, even though I've never had spam. I have a can of it somewhere because Akela gave it to me. Melody says, I would love to do a ride along with the mechanic cops. I bet you would. Maybe you want to join the police service. We're hiring. Did you see the report of the OPP stopping a guy twice with stunt since October? Really? I've not seen the report, but that's amazing. John Gagnon says, I love your informative videos. Thank you, John. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the appreciation. I love hearing the positive feedback. So many people don't ever catch me on the live streams to say it, but I've run into people in person who are like, I know you. I got my license because of you, or you helped me become a safer driver. It's always great to hear. I love it. That just means that what I'm doing is worthy of continuing and expanding, which is what I'm trying to do with Better Traffic. Better Traffic is a not-for-profit I started when I left the Toronto Police, and I want to do what I'm doing here and bring it to other police services and make it across Canada and the States. I want everyone to have access to their local police who can then make cool content. Claps says, I saw a cop driving with a missing left taillight. They are exempt for those laws too. No, they should have had their taillight. If it just happened, would they justify getting back? You only need one taillight lawfully. Like, they're not breaking the law by having one, but they should have two. Do you mean they were missing it or it was burnt out? I should probably take the lid off this because the water comes out better. Trying to read while I'm drinking. Oh my God. So Jenna's still asking the same question. Granted, I'm going back in time reading this, but you know. Melody says, I've heard of the 6-day unattached plate. Not sure if you can put it on another vehicle. No, well, you can't just hang it out the window. Ms. Lynn says, people say they get tickets. Oh, people say they get tickets going 2 to 3 kilometers over the limit. How to avoid when speedometers measure different. I'm glad you asked. Now, Ms. Lynn was talking about automated speed enforcement. We were talking about 10 minutes ago, and it takes me a while to catch up in the comments. So here's the deal. Generally speaking, it's 10%. Generally speaking, it's not an exact number. I've interviewed, and you can go listen to my old interview with the City of Toronto Automated Enforcement team. It's available on my YouTube channel. And they explain that they don't tell people what the percentage is. So I'm giving you an approximate 10%. 3 kilometers would be 10% over a 30 kilometer an hour zone. So I would think it's reasonable. But here's the thing about speedometers and being accurate. They are accurate at some speeds, and they generally underreport. They generally overreport. So if you're doing 30, if your speedometer is reporting 30, you're probably doing 29. So if you're going to get a ticket for doing 3 over, you're really doing 5 over, probably, which is not reasonable. People say, well, it's only a few over, but you're speeding, and you're speeding to the point where you are clearly going over the speed limit, even as your speedometer is reporting. Now, I've heard of people complaining that they got tickets for 2 over. I've never actually seen it. I've always seen it for 7 to 10. That I have seen. But again, if it's 10% over, 3% or 3 kilometers is going to be 10% in a 30 kilometer an hour zone. Let's see here. Melody says, that is confusing. Basically, get it home on Saturday, go to the MT. Yes, I agree. The temporary thing is a very temporary thing. And there are MTO locations that are open on Sunday. Sagent really wants an answer to that. I hope you were here to hear the answer. Yeah. Oh, he says sorry. Okay. What is your favorite donut shop? Krispy Kreme. I don't go to it, but I like it a lot. Once upon a time, and anyone I worked with at 1000 Finch when I was a court officer can tell you, I drove to Buffalo, New York to pick up 6 or 8 boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts to bring them back before they opened in Canada. I went there and I came back for an afternoon shift and brought them so that everyone could have Krispy Kreme because I like raspberry filled. They're good, but I don't eat that stuff anymore. Let's see here. Ms. Lynn says, tire size can affect speed accuracy, for example. Yes, but it's calibrated based on the tire size for your vehicle. And if you're changing your tire size considerably, you should have it calibrated, I imagine. And that would be a Melody question to see how you change those things. But yes, a significant tire change could cause it to under or over report. But based on what it does, you should know what it does and then drive accordingly. But we're talking minor changes, and you should make sure you're telling your mechanic or making those changes and getting it tuned, I would assume, because there's other things that can happen when you change the diameter of your tire. I am not a mechanic, but somebody here is. Okay. John says, where we go? Hold on. Back. Well, I'm looking for John questions, and he says, what's your primary platform to follow you on? The most content being created is being done on TikTok. Absolutely no question about it. But I'm trying to always post on the other ones. I think YouTube is the most important platform next to TikTok. I would follow me there. I also post things differently on X and LinkedIn. So by all means, follow me everywhere. But for live stream, I am currently simulcasting on LinkedIn, TikTok. Once I hit 1,000 followers on the Voiceover Cop channel on Facebook, I have like 40 followers on Facebook. They changed the policies. I used to stream there every day when I was on with the Toronto Police, but you need 1,000 followers now to stream on Facebook, which I don't have. So LinkedIn. Go to trafficcop.ca. You can find all my stuff. But follow me everywhere, and you get notified with whatever I post. That would be the way to do it. Looks like I have 5 more followers when it's one person. 5 platforms. Okay. Some of the best food trucks in Sarnia under the Blue Water Bridge. So I've got a buddy of mine who's a cop in Sarnia. Oh no, he's still Sarnia area. Now he's actually with the OPP now. He went from Toronto to Sarnia to the OPP. And I'm just in my basement. Okay. I saw a cop driving. We talked about that. If I'm buying a house, where would I bake the cookies? If I'm buying a house, where Ninja Turtle, very, very well. It's usually if you're selling the house. Buying the house, I guess you bring them with you, but that would be weird. Imran says, can you guys see Interpol red notices? I don't know what the red notice business, but we do communicate, or police do communicate internationally. Brett followed the host. Thank you very much for the following. So did 416 Techie. Appreciate you guys. What's the maximum horsepower allowed in a streetcar? I'm not aware of a maximum horsepower. Connor Wright says, eyes are sensitive to light even though I wear sunglasses. Still hurts my eyes. Can I get tint exempt? You can get windows tinted left and right. You cannot tint the windshield. Not in Ontario. There's no exception. How can I get a police officer in Alberta? Walk up and say hello. I don't know how to get them, but what do you mean get them? How do you become one? Apply. Talked about that. Can I drive in the emergency lane if it's an emergency? What's an emergency lane? Is it an emergency lane? What emergency lane are we talking about? Melody says, I want a motorcycle, but I'm short-legged, so options are limited. But you can lower a motorcycle. I've got some short-legged friends who have done that with Harleys and other vehicles. There are some small vehicles that are good. Okay. Ms. Lynn supports the stricter licensing. If you fail G-test, get back on the road and rebook the test. Okay. Dono Troke says, Beef Wellington is just a corn dog in a different tax bracket. I like it. I like it a lot. Corn dogs are good too. Not going for one, but Can I buy an aftermarket muffler and put it on my car if it's under 90 decibels? Under 90 decibels? Melody, can you do that? If you're over 96 decibels, it's a $500 bylaw ticket in the city of Toronto. Unnecessary noise is also eligible. 92 decibels at idle. Yeah, you can have aftermarket if it meets the requirements under law. That's, I think, the best answer. Oh, Clap says the copper with the burnt out taillight. So here's the thing. Again, one taillight is the only thing required by law. So they weren't necessarily breaking the law by having one taillight. But ideally, they would take it to the mechanic shop after their shift and get it fixed. If it was 2 taillights out, if they had nothing in the back, it would be dangerous. They should be taken off the road to towed. Sherna Castle says Boy Scout advice. I don't know how to take your comment. I'm not a Boy Scout. I do give the lawful advice. I don't tell people to break the law because that'd be stupid. Why would anyone come here for that? Christian says, this freaking guy. Oh, Christian says, you told me I'd lose trial on that stunting ticket. 1 up, and I haven't gotten to trouble since. Huh? I told you specifically your case would be lost? Did I give you the? I don't know what you're talking about. I talked to a lot of people, Christian. I can't remember what yours was. So tell me more. Hughes Mackey sent gifts. Thank you very much. Kind of you. David wants to know what the difference between a police officer to a sheriff. Well, if you're talking about in the United States, which I imagine you would be, because a sheriff is a county designation, whereas a police officer is generally speaking a state or a municipal or town situation. Sheriffs in Ontario and most of Canada don't do the same thing. Like in Ontario, a sheriff kicks people out of commercial properties, I think. Annie, thanks for the follow. Melody says, I once picked up Krispy Kreme order for a fundraiser. 150 dozen? Okay, you win. I've never picked up that many. Like 8 dozen or something. Callie says, is it considered insurance fraud if someone has car insurance in their name but allowing someone else to drive? Is it like consistently letting them and they're not on the policy? Possibly, maybe. Um, if you're not telling the insurance company what's going on, then you are in violation of their agreement, which could mean that they would deny you in a claim. So if you want to own a piece of junk metal that no one's going to repair if it gets into a collision, if they find out that you're loaning them the car or creating a policy just so that somebody else can drive and not telling them about it, you can get a policy. You can get an insurance policy under your name and add a driver who's going to consistently drive the car, and that's legit. But don't forget to tell the insurance company. That's very bad. And he wants to know what was my biggest pet peeve is of smaller laws being broken, dark plate covers, etc. All of them. I don't like any violations. I can't specific. I mean, I have a problem with speeders because they're the ones who are putting people at most risk, and stunt drivers, of course. But the minor stuff, license plates, lights out, sure, it's a reason to talk to somebody. I may not give you a ticket. I might just have a conversation. Depends. John, you're welcome. We talked about that. Melody says, reconfigure the body control module to change the tire size and tire pressure. Okay, there you go. Appreciate it. I didn't know that was a thing. I knew it was a thing. I just didn't know what the thing was called. Flap says, why does drive test allow 3 over if it's against the law? I don't know. Because I've heard of people being failed for not speeding, which I think is ridiculous. You have to know that the drive test people are not driving instructors. They're just people who are checking a box to say they did the thing that they're supposed to do or not did. I don't get it. I think we need to revamp the entire system. John says, Toronto just won if anyone cares. And someone else predicted it earlier, so awesome. Just in Time says, do you believe that after a certain time frame, cars should need some sort of annual inspection? I think that is a good thing. I don't think that I hated having to get that drive clean crap done, and people were doing all sorts of things to fake it and like for the emissions testing. But I think that here's what I do know. Your vehicle must be kept in good repair. If it's not, and something happens, like a wheel falls off, you cause a collision, you are responsible. And if it can be attributed to your lack of maintenance, you're going to wear it. Doesn't matter whether an inspection happens or not. It's going to go against you. So people should be taking their vehicle into a trusted mechanic for regular maintenance all the time. By the way, Melody, where are you located? Are you in the 416 area? No, you're probably close to Sarnia because that's what you're talking about. Can't send business to you when you're so far away. It's hard. But you can for the people who are local. Talk to Melody. Melody's a mechanic. Okay, talked about that. As a driver in Scarborough, I believe after, let's say, 7 years, cars should need an inspection annually. Like cars are falling apart when they're not under warranty. Especially, we're going to see an increase in this as times get tougher financially for people. Imran says, are medical tint exemptions from the U.S. registered cars valid in Ontario? So you're visiting? You may not get enforced if you're visiting, but if you live in Ontario, you cannot have a U.S. plated vehicle. You have to register your vehicle in Canada if it's been here for 30 days, if you are a resident. John says, I'm way down in Windsor. See, then I can do cool things like this when people come in from YouTube. Just saying. Boom, boom, boom. What is expected from auxiliary officers during ride-alongs? Not a whole lot. I mean, you got to know stuff. You got to you got to be paying attention. We want you to help if something goes wrong, but ride-alongs aren't like, it depends on Toronto versus other police agencies. Like some police agencies, they hand you a shotgun and go, you're my backup because there's nobody coming except you. Very different in Toronto because we don't give auxiliary shotguns in Toronto. Sherna Castle says, it's not fraud, yeesh. Getting a policy and not telling somebody? Are you breaking rules? Are you getting a benefit by lower insurance by putting it through somebody's name? Someone could make the argument that it's defrauding the insurance company or violating their policies at very least. Is it criminal? Not necessarily. Autobiel, thanks so much for the gift. Good to see you. Autobiel is a car broker. Just saying. Aiden says, did you retire? I did. I left policing at the end of August. It's crazy how quickly that time flies. I started a not-for-profit doing what I'm doing right now, trying to educate people and also drive programs and get private funding to make those programs possible. So, yeah, I'm busy doing this, but I also do podcast production and all sorts of teaching. I'm actually going to be speaking at the Spile Conference in North Carolina this year. Did it in Florida last year. We get moving around. 519 area, Lambton County. Right on. That's where Melody is. If you need a mechanic in 519 area code, that's who you go call. DM416 says, "Hey Sean, what's your YouTube? I'm interested in watching your driving videos. It's VoiceOver Cop. Everything I do is on VoiceOver Cop. I have other channels, but VoiceOver Cop is the one for all police stuff. If you go to trafficcop.ca, you can actually get links to all of it." And he says, a lot of people that go to his shop, what is this? Inspections just got way more intense in Ontario as well. My partner is a Red Seal. A lot of people go to his shop, refuse the work, and they get dirty certs down south. I'm up north. There's a lot of mechanics who will take money and do what they want. Like I back in the day, I knew people who would certify a vehicle over the phone. Yeah, not cool. And Autobiel, it says Omvic registered broker. I know the Omvic people. They do the inspections on all the folks who are selling vehicles, and Omvic are the people trying to ensure that the industry is safe for the what am I thinking of? A customer, yeah, consumer. That's what I was thinking. Okay. Melody says MTO can inspect the vehicle if they suspect it's unsafe. Yeah, so can police, right? So if you have a vehicle that's clearly unsafe and you have a brand new certificate saying it's safe, we could say it's going to be inspected again. We're going to charge you for unsafe motor vehicle, and if you had a brand new certificate, we'd be investigating the mechanic shop that certified it. Have you ever seen the cop show that called The Rookie? I'm about to go watch another episode of it. I did not finish the episode. I think I'm on episode 11. Maybe 12, 11 or 12. I love the show. Been watching it since day one. I really resonated with that character because he was a what do you call it? Was he a builder, carpenter, before he got a divorce and became a police officer? I've never been a carpenter, and I've only been married once. In fact, I got married and then became a police officer. But I was older when I went through the police college, 38. Because I was a court officer and a police auxiliary police officer before. So I 25 years with the service, but not all as a police officer. So I really understood what it was like to be an older guy going through the college. Mark Fontanato says, "You retired? Haven't seen you in uniform. Haven't I seen you in uniform way back then?" Yeah, the 31st of August, 29th of August, something like that was my last day in uniform. It's weird not being in uniform. It's weird. It's very cool. That's why I got this face fuzz, because I'm able to grow a beard, and I'm just flexing the fact that I can to make those who can't jealous. Just playing, having fun, enjoying the fact that I don't have uniform rules anymore. If my plate is expired and I already got a ticket, can I keep getting tickets till I fix it? You got it. Your plate is expired. You are not really legally allowed to be on the road at all. So if you continue to drive on it beyond the ability to get it home type thing the first time, you keep doing it, you're in continuation of the offense. They can seize your plates and keep charging every single time. David said, "For how long have you been a cop?" So I joined the police service in 2000, was an auxiliary officer then. Same year I became a special constable in courts, became an auxiliary sergeant and a court supervisor shortly after, at some point afterwards. And then traded 2 uniforms in for 1 and became a police officer. I graduated in 2013 as a police officer, and then got very busy in traffic. Well, I went to 12th Division for a year, and then a year and a half, and then went to traffic services, and then the motor squad and the CIB, and bounced around, went back to the motor squad, and then got injured in 2018. Tony, my friend got hit and run in the parking lot, and he got police report. Police never got investigated. Got police report. Police never got investigated. He got hit and run on the parking lot, and he got police report. I don't understand, Tony. He got a police report, but he never got investigated. What do you mean? Something happened. Autobio says, "Lots of useful info on this podcast. Sean knows his stuff. Listen up, everyone." Thank you very much. I appreciate the endorsement. If you want to just put that on paper, we're going to put it in the office. Maybe post it on social media. Actually, I'll follow you on the other socials. We'll find your account. Contractor. I'm not following that comment. Oh, Officer Nolan, contractor. That's right. Thank you. Not carpenter specifically, but new building construction. Officer Nolan, a Canadian actor, by the way. Mark says retired to October 2024. No files, no more to-do list. I totally appreciate that. Do me a favor, Mark. Hit the DM me. Let me know so I can follow you back. Grasshopper Glass says, is Ontario a stop to ID province even if I'm not driving, i.e. a pedestrian? No. So we were talking about carting. Carting's been long gone. I mean, police can stop and investigate you if there's a reason to, but not just stop to ID you, just to say hello. If you're driving a motor vehicle, it's different. Any police officer can pull you over for any reason to check if you are a licensed driver, insured, impaired. That's just because you're driving a car. You have to provide your license, ownership, and insurance, and may have to provide a breath sample just because you're driving a car. Coyote says, vote blue. Now, I'm not, because last time we talked about someone's comment, a number of people went bananas and said, you're voting for the wrong I'm not. I'm reading comments. You can see the comments if you're on TikTok. Got really offended. But no one said, vote red. Otherwise, I'd read that. Just reading comments, not endorsing anybody. Iraq says, hey, Sean Shapiro, how's your day so far? Going well. Thanks for asking. The official FX Jason says, how do a firearm owner get their firearm back if they have been in a vehicle collision? You have a firearm and the firearm was seized as a result of the collision. They would be giving you was hospitalized for a couple of days and got out. What you would do is you would have a ticket, a property tag, and as everything was up and up, you would just go and collect it from the police. What are your thoughts on light bars? Think they are nice if they are used properly. If we're talking about like light bars for off-road, they're nice for off-road, but you can't use them on the road. Riz Vision says, if you see someone pulled over on the 401 in the middle of the day and they are sleeping in the car, what would you do? Let them sleep it off or let them keep driving to the next exit. You get them off the road. That's a very dangerous place to be at the side of the road. It's for emergency stops, not naps. Let's see here. Woohoo, go Leafs go. What happened in 2018? Brad, I was hit by a car. I was a motorcycle officer. I was on patrol I was on the way back to the station, doing a little last minute enforcement, and someone drove into me. How do roadside swabs work? This is from Suicide. It's up for marijuana and cocaine. That's what the majority of swabs that we use, that's what the swabs we use are. Other technology may have been introduced, and other jurisdictions may use different stuff, but they're really just used for finding out if you have more than zero, if you're a commercial vehicle driver, to see if you have drugs or alcohol in your system, or drugs or marijuana or cocaine in your system, and roadside screening device for alcohol. It's a buccal swab. They check the inside of your cheek, it scans it. I don't know the intricacies of how it works, but that's what it does. KB44, very taken, but thank you for the compliments. Daedalus says, what is a peace officer? A mayor is a peace officer, a summons server is a peace officer. It's a designation that really adds to your charges if you assault one. But in Ontario, a police officer is also a peace officer along with a special constable, anyone who's basically representing the people professionally, on behalf of the government. Autobio says, happy to send you a written endorsement for your office. Thanks very much. Actually, I need that for the studio. I need everyone to send me endorsements. Thousands of them. I appreciate you. Thank you, Autobio. Mike says, Sean, I drove on the emergency lane shoulder. They gave me a ticket, but there was an accident. Well, it's against the law to drive on the shoulder. How far were you driving on the shoulder? Like if you just drove around a collision, no, you shouldn't have gotten a ticket. If you drove for a kilometer on the shoulder, you deserve a ticket. Like it depends on the situation. Tony says, I'm driving my car, but I don't have insurance. Police can identify with license plate while... What? I don't understand what you're saying. If you're driving with no insurance, you are going to get a charge for drive no insurance, which has a $5,000 to $25,000 fine associated. If you're saying you're driving without your insurance card, it's a $65 fine if they believe you have insurance. But if they find out later, they have 3 years to lay the charge. That comes with the $5,000 to $25,000 and up to 6 months in jail, by the way. But you need to carry the card. I think you're just flexing that you don't drive with the insurance card. I would hope you drive with insurance. Can you drive a motorcycle with a G2 or a full G? No. You need an M1 or an M2. Granted, if you have an M license, a full M, you can drive with a you can drive as a G1 with a full M. Weird. I don't know why you'd want to. Mike says they drove around the collision, and you were the only one who drove. Like I don't know. Maybe there was a safety concern, but if it was like two cars in the middle of the road and you drove on the shoulder to get around the collision that was blocking the road, I don't see that as an issue, unless police were directing people not to, and you were doing something that the insurance didn't want you to. Brad Walker says, "Don't drive without insurance. I've been caught. Very expensive. Very, very expensive." Yes. J Dub wants to know if having an insurance card on your phone is okay. Actually, in Ontario, it is legal, as long as you are providing proof by way of a approved app that is secure. And there's some conditions you have to be able to send it to the police officer, not just show it to them. There's some things you might have to do, but Ontario does allow it now legally. Autobial says, Tony, you must have insurance to operate a motor vehicle, and on the road, absolutely. Private property, you don't, but why would you drive on your private property? Like for motorcycles and stuff. If you have dirt bikes, you don't need to have insurance, but you should. Insurance is good to have. I think it's good, especially if you get hurt. Mike says, I'll figure it out. I hope you figure it out, but I'd love to know more. Like, I don't understand why they charged you for that. There must be something about that. Melody says, fun fact, my 310S license allows me to test ride a motorcycle without a full M license or without an M license. Yes. Mechanics have special powers. If it's a red light with a green light turn arrow, do I have to stop or can I just turn right through? If you have a green arrow to turn right, you are not required to stop. It's a green light for the turn. No stop is necessary. It's a green light directing your specific direction of travel. However, the 5 cars I saw run a red light turning right on red today were just, that's a pet peeve. Someone asked earlier, what's my biggest pet peeve? Watching people make right turns on reds without stopping. I freaking hate it. And if I was writing tickets, I'd write them all day long. J.E. Hart says, I was involved in a hit and run in the highway, and I did give the OPP my license. Sorry, let me say this again. I was involved in a hit and run on the highway and did give the OPP the license plate. They did not do anything to him. Why? Well, I imagine that they would have gone and investigated them, and if they could have, confirmed that they had any evidence of the collision, I'm sure they would have laid charges. But it's not enough just to say you left the scene. You have to substantiate that they were there. Did you have a dash cam? Dash cams really help. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't do. I used to work what they call them the white files, the hit and runs. They're white files because they come in a white envelope, and the yellow files are the serious ones. That's why they're called yellow files. We pursued all of them as much as we could, but they don't always result in anything because you have to be able to identify time, date, location, person, driver to lay a charge. Although you might be able to get people to tell people what's going on. Melody can also drive ambulances and school buses. Very cool. Callie says, can you anonymously report someone for driving a car that hasn't been safety or switched ownership? You can make reports, generally speaking, not anonymously. Like they usually require stuff to substantiate that it's a real person and it's a value to avoid people being harassed. But you could actually put stuff on 1-800 tips or 222 tips to Crime Stoppers. Josh says, I'm way down in Windsor. I have family in Windsor. John says, curious, is it legal to drive with a picture of your license and insurance and ownership as proof, or is it recommended to carry the originals? So the law says that you must have your original license until such time as they change to an electronic version. You must have proof of insurance by either paper or electronic copy, and you must have the original or a true copy being a photocopy of both sides of your permit. Now, I would say keep an electronic copy because what happens if something happens? You have a backup, but you still doesn't meet the requirements under the law. And he has another question. The other question I would ask is, do you recommend everybody should it be mandated that every vehicle have a dash cam? I would love every vehicle to have a dash camera. I certainly do endorse and suggest everyone have a dash camera. Best way to protect you. It's the proof you need. Can you refuse a swab? I believe it is a lawful order, a lawful demand. I don't think you can refuse it. And I've never been involved with the swab. It's something that I never used because I was not a breath tech. B, I've never, other than testing how they worked, I've to show me the sample of the machine. I never used it, so I assume it's the same as the breath and the what's it called, the sobriety test. And the reason is if you refuse those, you're going to be criminally charged. Refuse. So I'm assuming it's the same as a swab. Have you ever met a state trooper? I have met several, and Navid will say, he says, hello, Toronto Police. I am not Toronto Police. I am former Toronto Police. I was Toronto Police. I am no longer, as I am no longer a police officer. Any plans on traveling? I try and travel as much as possible, but I don't have any specific travel plans right now. Jay Furious says, is a gentleman who wears a turban legally exempt from wearing a helmet when riding a motorcycle? A practicing member of the Sikh faith, I'm mispronouncing it. It's Sikh, not Sikh. I think we all mispronounce it, and I've been corrected before, so I'm trying to pronounce things properly. However, they are exempt in Ontario, and I think Alberta as well, maybe one other province, exempt from wearing a helmet if they are practicing members of that faith, which upsets people who don't want to wear helmets but are legally required to. It's not safe, but it is something that they have the ability to do. Tony wants to know how many cars we're able to buy and sell in Toronto with no OMBIC license. No, you can't curbside. You can't, you have to transfer it into your own name and transfer it out. I can tell you, the people who buy it and they just hold on to the ownership and don't sign it over. That's not legal. They're looking for people who do that. They investigate it. I'd say contact OMBIC to find out. Mark says, sent you a TikTok message. Let's get in touch. Sure, absolutely. That sounds awesome. Thanks, Mark. J.E. Hart followed me. Thanks for the follow. How many cars? We talked about that. What was it difficult turning in your badge? Brad, you have no idea. It's still, it hurts my heart. It really does. Being a cop was the only thing I ever wanted to do since I was a kid, since I was like 8 years old. And I'm very fortunate that I was able to become a police officer, that I was able to serve as one, a motorcycle officer at that, to become part of an elite group of amazing officers who ride motorcycle and serve their communities. Truly a dream come true. And I left because it was the right thing to do for my family, because they need me more now at home. And I thought about going back. We'll see what happens. Maybe sometime in the future when they need me less, if that ever happens. But hardest day ever. And I get choked up all the time thinking about it. J-Dub, yeah, cool. Alberta does have the exemption, right on. Can you get a permit to race at the highway at night? No, there's no racing on the highway. You can go race on the track. Autobio says that's curb signing and it's illegal. Absolutely. And Tony says, thank you. All right. I think we're caught up. And it is 2 hours, which is a full hour longer than I thought we would be going. Jay Fury says, great show. Thanks. Thank you very much. I appreciate the appreciation. John says, do you ever travel down this way? I do, because I have family in Windsor. We try and go. And we go to Michigan because we have family there too. And they're all kind of in that area. I got an American cousin who married a Canadian. So now we have reason to, we always went down to Detroit, but now she's now in Canada more often. Or she lives in Canada. Anyway, John says, when you retired, did you do the final sign-off? Was it emotional? I did my final show. I wasn't in the car because of my collision. I hadn't been on the road in a while, so I did my final show, and it was horrible. It was very, very hard. And then I very quickly started doing this in part-time to sort of self-soothe. I tried to, because I missed doing it. This is what I was doing as a police officer for 5 years, roughly. So I started doing this, and this is being the best. The best therapy is still doing what I did when I was a cop. So it was, but it was definitely hard. Pedal Pod ice cream will give you free ice cream. Pedal Pod ice cream. Oh, you're saying if I come by down there, there you go. I'm not eating sugar right now. I've been avoiding sugar for like 45 or 50 days. But if I make it down there, I might have to have an exception to the no ice cream, no sugar business. I do like ice cream. Took my kids to the mall a couple of days ago. They had frozen yogurt, and I love ice cream and frozen yogurt. It was very hard to have them watch them eating it, enjoying it. They had the best flavors: cookies and cream and mint and chocolate. And yeah, I smelt it. Smelled good. Are cameras legal on helmets? I remember the controversy a while ago. The deal is that you can't mount anything to your helmet because it basically invalidates the safety of the helmet. You could really hurt yourself if you hit the ground and the camera mount that's mounted to the shell doesn't break. So the way around it is, and I just bought one of these. I don't have it in front of me. It's upstairs. I bought it to test it out. What is it called? DJI has one that clips. It clips like a hair clip on the front of the helmet. That would be illegal because it's not affixed to the helmet. It's temporarily attached, just like the communicators that go in between the outer shell, but are not glued to the outer shell. So they snap off in the event of a collision. Those are not a permanent modification to the outside. When you glue something to the outside, that's when it becomes illegal. The official says, "Good night, Sean. Keep up the great work. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. to do this again. So if you want to continue the conversation, I'll be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. and then Thursday at 9 p.m. to do this night thing, which I actually really dig. I like doing the night thing. But I am going to say goodnight. So with that, why am I starting that music? I got music starting in. Here we go. We'll just bring the music up a bit. So we'll see you tomorrow if you're here, and if not, tell somebody else to show up in your place. We could use the followers. Share the live and the channel with as many people as you can. We'd really appreciate it. Tell them to come check out the whole book, the reading of the handbook on YouTube, because the goal is to get through this one, then move on to the motorcycle one. The goal is to teach everybody and make it easier to learn. It's not always fun and easy to learn by reading. I'm doing the amateur radio course. That's a lot of reading. Just saying. Talk more about that tomorrow. Have a good night. Drive safe.